Hey everybody, I'm Don, and I'm still waking up. Oh, hopefully that was some feedback on the call, on the live stream there. Jimi Hendrix has entered the stream or something. Okay, so can you guys hear me? Is that okay? All right, great. So, hey everyone, I'm Don. I'm with the Ansible Community and Partner Engineering team at Red Hat, and I thought we'd start with just kind of a brief introduction of the team, give you some context about what we do, what we've done over the past year, and as we're here, we're planning for the year ahead, and we'd like to get thoughts, feedbacks, criticisms, welcome, whatever you've got. We want to hear from you to help us define our goals for the year ahead and figure out some priorities for our work. Because we don't want it to be just what we say. So this is our agenda. We're going to start with a quick overview of the team, then go into discussion about the team goals. But I want to be clear that this isn't just like us trying to say this is what we're doing. We want to have a conversation with you, and we want to encourage everyone here to join us and to help. There's plenty of work in the year ahead, and hopefully you'll find some things that interest you and you can get involved with. So the Community and Partner Engineering team at Red Hat. We've got, just kind of go through, there's Andre, who's sitting in the back there. Hey, Andre. Anrisha. Oh, hey, more chocolates. Yeah, there we go, thank you. Anrisha, Daniel, who's new to the team. There's myself, Sandra in the US, Gundalow, and then Trey. So together we make up the Community Partner Engineering team. So what would you say you do here? We all love the Bobs, right? So when I joined the team, it was like the last standalone Ansible Fest before they combined it with Summit. And I was on this call. It's like me and Greg Sutcliffe, right? And there was a video stream, but it was only one way. I was just literally looking into my mic and into my webcam, and I could only see Greg, but I knew there was a room of people, but I couldn't see them. So I was just kind of there nodding along, and I was really, really new, and I didn't know what was going on. But Greg kind of just passed me the mic with this what would you say you do here? And my response to that was just glue work. And it's still that today. I would say it's glue work, which probably sounds like a very abstract thing. But glue work is really about getting stuff out of the way for people so they can get things done, and empowering people to get things done. And removing roadblocks for better community participation, providing different platforms for where people can get together, and there can be community engagement. Of course, the forum and matrix are obvious examples of that. And providing community tooling like bots, GitHub workflows, and just trying to create infrastructure and processes and things that the community needs to collaborate successfully. So kind of one of my go-tos for, just to kind of give another example of glue work and what that really is. For me, my go-to is the Ducks lift and shift that we did a couple of years ago. So the community wanted to, do some different various docs initiatives like hackathons and, upgrading the Sphinx build and, all these various things that we wanted to do. And the doc site at the time was in the Ansible repo. And we were all pulling in the same direction, but things were just kind of bumping up against each other a little bit. And like maybe, we had run into like kind of a tangle with core CI. So we lifted the doc site into a new repo, Ansible, and just freed things up so people could participate and collab on the docs together and just get things.
Without the core team being a wart on the butt of progress.
Well, okay, well, but hopefully it made things, made life easier for the core team and made life easier for the community, and, like things just stopped like kind of butting up against each other, and people were able to kind of collaborate more effectively. And the result of it has been that we've got like some absolutely fantastic doc CI that like raised the quality of the content and like made life easier for contributors. And it's important because documentation is one of the places where people make their first contribution to Ansible most times. So an example of glue work. So moving on with the Ansible Community and Partner Engineering team, we merged teams it was a little over a year ago. It wasn't, I guess, like November 2024 or so. When we came together with community engineering, like I said, we work on things like community infrastructure. There are like aspects of, legal, code of conduct, community release management, and partner engineering. I'll go into a little bit more detail about like the specific things that partner engineering does, but there was this huge overlap where both teams were working on like automating workflows, reviewing collections, and helping them either get approved for the community package or automation hub, working to improve developer experience as well as various different quality improvements. So it just made sense to like merge these two teams together because we were doing a lot of overlapping work, and there were those, synergies there, even though I kind of hate that word because, let's leverage our synergies, you guys. But yeah, so we moved together. So just a really brief overview, because you've probably heard me talking about like Red Hat partners and like what does this mean. So Red Hat partner are just like tech companies. Like you see the logos here. So quite a few of them that be writing collections and automation content. So the partner team is there to work with some of the partners. But it's important to stress that even though they're tech companies and we talk about them as like Red Hat partners, they're not really like a special they're not separate from the community. The Red Hat partners are part of the community. You could even think of them as a community within the community. Red Hat partners, the collections are freely available from Galaxy. Many of them include their collections in the Ansible package. They participate in the forum, announce on the bullhorn, and they share the same maintainer experience as the community, including the various pain points. So they're not separate. They're part of the community. So that was another reason to kind of bring our teams together. But with the partners, kind of specifically, there are different types of collections that you can find on Automation Hub. There's, like this one, for example, is the AAP configuration. You can see it's a validated collection on Automation Hub. Of course, it's also on Galaxy, but certified and validated, I guess like certified include like modules and plugins and like, third-party integrations, and validated are roles and playbooks. Actually, validated came about because there were like all these like consultants that had like all these roles and playbooks and everything and like GitLab somewhere. Like, hey, we should, take these and like, turn them into collections. But yeah, I guess validated are just like kind of curated sets of playbooks and roles for specific use cases. So for both community and partners, there are different like benefits of participation in the partner program, but also contributing collections to uploading collections to Galaxy or including in the Ansible package. And we'll just go through these kind of really quickly, but with Ansible, it's when you include your collection, say in the community package, you get increased visibility because it's, pip install Ansible, it's included that way. So, it allows you to kind of extend your reach, reduces time to release. A lot of if you're just focused on uploading a collection, developing and maintaining a collection, you don't need to, there are like a lot of good tools there for like rendering documentation and using Galaxy as well. You don't have to worry about so much about distribution and things. It's just easier quicker to release. Extending technology adoption. I think a lot of I wish I had got it locked out of my slides because I'm kind of choking on the speaker's notes. I'm working from memory, and so bear with me here. I'm just going to be honest. It's like 9 in the morning. Yeah. So sorry. I don't want to ramble on too much. Unlocking integration capabilities. So say you've got your, you can combine collections in a playbook. So you can easily integrate technology together. Ooh, nice, thank you. Yeah, so I've got the speaker's notes here. Gundalow's saving me. Thank you. I just have to learn how do I scroll down? That's okay. So let's move on to the goals, because this is the main part of the discussion that we want to have today, and some of our goals for 2026. So some of the work that we did in 2025, and these are just some of the highlights. It's not meant to be completely inclusive, but our team, and I think Andre did the bulk of the work on the first one, were contributing to the reviews for including collections in the community package. And Wisha from our team did a lot of work on community execution environments and releasing those. Lots of different contributions to improve the Ansible community documentation. I think some of that is helping. I know I reviewed some docs PRs from the core team, and different people Sloan and B-Coca kind of jumped to mind. We also migrated the docs.ansible.com subdomain over to read the docs hosting, which was kind of a big effort, and it took several years to actually complete that, but we did last year. Also worked with the core team to communicate changes for collection development, most notably all the changes that came in 2.19. Putting those up in the forum and letting people know that changes were coming and they need to start testing against 2.19 and making some changes for that. Another thing that we actually spent a lot of time on last year was the collection and validation requirements for those Red Hat partners. Our teams combined, and there were actually 2 or 3 people that were on the partner engineering team that left right about the same time that our teams were brought together. So we inherited all those, the partner engineering team, I suppose, are the gatekeepers of content quality for collections, with the certified and validated collections. So, my team, those of us that were in the community engineering team had to kind of get up to speed with those requirements and review them, and there were some various inconsistencies that would, I guess, be frustrating for some of the for some of the partners, because you like upload a collection and everything's kind of fine, and then like the next time you upload a new release, it's like, well, we see you're doing this and we're going to reject your collection. And they were like, why would you do this? Like, what's the change, So, working on that to like kind of smooth that out, and also see like where some of the overlap is with the community requirements.
Sorry, did you publish somewhere this partner certification checker workflow? Can I find
Tom, repeat the question.
Yeah.
How do we talk about I had it? So it's first time version collection is uploaded, everything is good, everything is good. Next time, message from Red Hat, so we can certify your collection.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see this checker before I upload this collection.
Okay, yeah, so the question is, where can you get the partner certification checker workflow? And that's a fair question. And I was going to speak to that, but it's still something like we're experimenting with. So we kind of wanted to like talk about it a little bit today and maybe get some feedback. If you want to come talk to me afterwards, I'd be happy to show you and we can kind of go through it. Felix, did you?
Quick question, is this a manual process or something like reviewed by a human, or is it like an automatic process, or both?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
We're trying to automate more, but yeah, it has been largely manual.
Okay. And is it more like a checklist that's checked, or is there like, do you have to like make, look at the actual or like the content of the collection and make some judgment calls and evaluate? I mean, is it like strictly binary decisions, like sticking to some formal things, or is it more? I mean, I have really no idea how this certification process looks like.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because we're still. So basically, the question, just to repeat. I'm sorry, Felix.
We can also talk about it later if you're.
Oh no, it's cool. Like I could talk about that stuff all day long.
Okay.
Yeah. So Felix's question is basically about the certified and validated process. Is it manual? Is it automated? What does it look like? Yeah. So let me talk about like the slides here, and then let's dive into that a little bit more, because I think these. I think the last three bullets kind of relate to that. So yeah, the Red Hat partners, they're like onboarding workflows, trying to get them into, to understand the requirements and what they need to do to actually get either a collection either certified or validated. And there's the whole like, first they have to sign some kind of like, I don't know, like legal agreement and all of that, and then go through it. So we're trying to, we've been trying to like make that easier, and also like, I think make it I think you commented about there's like a PDF that we've had. That
On formal stuff, but that was mostly on formal stuff, I think. Like you said, like signing up with these things, signing up with that things, getting this document signed, getting that document signed.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of those have been, I think, less than optimal, and also largely manual. And I think the way the workflows, yeah, the partner certification checker workflow is one that like Andre and I have been like kind of hacking on a little bit, and it's still like sort of an experimental phase because we want to see like how useful it would be, but we also want to, we have other plans we'll get into in the slide thing, and then yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about the certification workflows. So a lot of that is manual review in a similar way to the community inclusion checklist, where you just have like, the various checklists that you go through. So like a collection lens and say like the staging area and automation hub. So you can see there are like Galaxy importer runs that go through and, you know, do like Ansible sanity test. There's, you know, a lint test and a few other ones. So kind of checking the logs for that, you know, checking out the license, making sure it has like an OSI compatible license, and then, you know, looking through the documentation. There's certain things that, you know, should be in there. Like I actually rejected a collection not so long ago because some of their module documentation was pointing to Galaxy, which didn't really make sense. It should have pointed to their GitHub repo. So I rejected for that. So, but there's a lot of like, also just kind of like going through and looking at the collection tarball and unpacking that and like just investigating. We found that like, in some cases, there were a couple of collections that had an Ansible lint configuration, you know, the .ansible lint, the hidden file, and there would be like certain rules that were in the skip list that shouldn't be. So finding things like that,
So it can be partially automated, but some things probably cannot really be automated because they're, I mean, it requires a human to look at things, or maybe with AI it gets, well, better but different.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
yeah, there needs to be,
stuff like that.
but yeah, even with AI, there needs to be a human in the loop, I think, to kind of check, you know. But we are working on like, yeah, automating where we can. Hey.
When you find stuff that needs to be changed for the certified collection, will that also be done on the community and then certified, or will the certified collection version then differ from the community version?
Good question. So let me repeat that. So when a change is made to a certified collection, does that happen in like kind of a downstream fashion, or do those changes go upstream so they're available to the community? And it's always we go upstream first, and then, you know, that's the workflow, upstream to downstream. So community benefits from the collection and inclusion reviews too in that way, because we'll change. Oftentimes, like my team and I will, it's usually kind of more straightforward if there are fixes that you can, you know, just submit a pull request. I think like one of the, yeah, Felix?
Sorry, another follow-up question about that one. Does it mean that basically every time they submit something for certification, they have to do a new release? So there might be like 5 community releases until it finally gets certified, and that one is the official final release, or how does this work?
It could work like that, yeah. They need to do a release, and you know there has to be like, and one of the requirements is that there has to be like a changelog fragment for the release, that, you know, for the version that they're certifying or whatever. But I guess in some cases, yeah, they might do like 2 or 3 community releases, and then the last one would contain the.
I wonder if it's possible to streamline the process more. That, I mean, I think for the collections it's also annoying that they have to do releases several times. I mean, this also caused problems because some collections didn't add tags to the releases until it was finally certified, and then we got a problem with the Ansible package building.
Yeah.
Of that.
Yeah, I've seen that one that has come up a few times. I actually took a note of that one, so when we see that one come in, I think like in that case, that's something we can add to the certification checklist, that it must be tagged. So, you know, I think the good news, and those are the things we want to hear, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are those things, like, how are we, like, how, I don't want to say like causing problems, but how is that like, you know, friction, thank you.
Yeah.
With the community, and how can we fix that? And I think in that case, we just require that there must be a tagged version that corresponds, as well as, you know, the changelog fragment. So, but I know the collection you're talking about, and
I'm not sure if there are also others, but I mean, for some of them it might just be annoying that they have to do releases to get it checked. But I'm also
Yeah.
not sure how to change the process, because if you don't require releases and just look at the Git repo, doesn't mean the release is actually good. They do, because yeah, release processes can do strange things, and especially if they do it manually on their machine, they might accidentally include other files that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and
Things like that.
yeah, and hopefully not too many people are like, we're trying to, you know, we're not trying to, we are recommending that they follow, you know, like use GitHub workflows, so they tag the release, and then that triggers the workflows to upload to Galaxy and then Automation Hub. And that is the recommended path, but you know, we can't force partners to, you know, we can't force anyone to do that. Although maybe we could, you know, like I say, have that requirement, but yeah. Are there any more questions on these slides, or shall we move on? Okay, I'll take silences. Let's move on. So we do have a HackMD. So this is the part where we want to get some audience participation, and we'd like to hear from you. So we do have 2 HackMDs. We've got this one, red.hat, Ansible Contributor Summit. You're also welcome to use GIMP 2026 if you're already in there. But one of our high-level goals for the year ahead, and this is community as well as, you know, the community team and partner engineering team, the 2 things combined. Like I said, we are kind of the gatekeepers for the certified and validated collections, and we help with the community through the inclusion reviews. So one of our goals for the team is to make sure that I guess quality doesn't degrade, but also that quality increases. And I think there's a lot that you know, can be done with like collection testing, but we want to hear from you guys. So what ideas might you have? What things what might be the pain points? How could we work to remove any sort of, like, are there any roadblocks you can think of that might be in the way of content quality?
So just, we'll use GAN 2026, we'll move everything over there.
Okay, yeah, so let's use Get 2026, please. So do we want to take like 5-10 minutes and just kind of hack on this a little bit?
Yeah.
Was everybody kind of, there's a lot of faces that kind of look like how I feel right now, so I don't blame you if you're kind of worn out from conferencing. Yeah, Daniel?
Yeah, so a pain point I've had recently is that there was an issue with Zoll and the build process for the bezel collection, and I've been struggling to find somebody who can help me with that.
Is that with Zool?
With Zoll, yeah. There was like a build failure, and maybe it was like a transient one, but I haven't been able to find anyone who can help me like retry the build. And so at the moment, there's a release missing from Galaxy. So anyone who wants to use the latest version will have to basically install from Git rather than use Galaxy.
You need the tag on GitHub and push it again, and then it will re-trigger the...
Okay, so I can delete the training.
Yeah, and it happens a lot, and I also have no clue when to contact.
Okay.
Just like waiting and reading mostly.
Well, I'll make a note of that then. We can figure out who should be the point of contact for that and help us with that. Okay.
Yeah, so so the discussion now was, we use Zool CI, which is an open source tool, as you'd expect. For the collections in the GitHub Ansible collections org, we use Zool. It's got our secret pass credentials to publish to Galaxy.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, so we use Zool to publish to Galaxy. I've now realised we have no documentation on how to do that, and that feels like something we can probably fix quite easily. So thanks for your idea on there. Who else, just to show of hands, who else is a maintainer of an Ansible collection? About 15 or so. Cool. What other pain points do you have with it? What just annoys you? Like, you know, what? some hands up in the middle. Anyone got any? I mean, maybe everything's working perfectly, and then I will go home and be happy. But Matt?
I've got one that comes up that came up recently that I'm not sure. I guess it's squarely in the. I think most of you already know about it, maybe, but the Ansible requires being kind of co-opted for metadata about certification versus what the collection actually supports. That's been a problem because there are a number of collection maintainers that have things that will support a much wider range of Ansible core versions than what the certification guidelines require. And the certification guidelines at some point actually changed that says, I think that to be continuing to certify, you can't support a certain outside of a certain range. And so co-opting the runtime metadata, which is what that was designed for, this is the one in the collection meta, for that, is a problem because for people, people shouldn't be having to artificially restrict the runtime usage just to it's like, what does the certification care if they can run on another one? If the certification needs its own place to store that in the collection metadata, we should talk about that. But,
And Ansible has a rule which basically screams at you if you support something which isn't there, which is, in my opinion, a total stupid rule and should be removed.
Yeah, so the discussion there, just for live stream, was around this. I think it's in the collections meta runtime.yaml.
yeah.
There's a maybe optional, it might be required now.
Requires Ansible.
Requires Ansible, and it will take like a pinned range. That was initially added into Ansible core to give a runtime warning, I think, rather than error to say, hey, you're trying to use a collection that doesn't support this version of Ansible.
And it's now recently also been supported by Galaxy Download, I think, so you can actually download one that will try to find one that fits your
yeah, and then that
install.
metadata is added into Galaxy YAML. Matt said it's been.
I've been waiting for that for years.
I think it's 221.
And what's happened is it's basically been abused to force in to say this collection is capital S supported by these versions, and yeah, we've ended up mixing up business policy decisions with technical API contracts, and unsurprisingly, it's a whole heap of pain.
And especially for an upstream, for something that's upstream, So, feels like,
There's especially a bad thing about this because there's still Ansible Core 2.16, which is needed to administer some still supported RHEL versions, for example, and also others. And basically these new collection or certified collection releases are required to not support 2.16, which is, even though they maybe could do that, and that's also pretty annoying, I think. I mean, it doesn't affect me because I don't use 2.16 anymore, but I think it's annoying to many users who have to use 2.16 to actually be able to work with their machines.
Yeah, has anyone else in the audience had issues with this? Are you familiar with the paper we're talking about?
Yeah,
it's on the consuming end of it.
Yeah, so we still have a lot of, so we are providing a platform for many of our customers on our company, and we still have a lot that are connecting to RHEL 8 and having now issues because on the one hand they need to use the new core systems, but the core versions, but the collections are not supporting them anymore. But I hope the good news is, at least with the latest committed to 2.21, that there will be hopefully a RHEL 8 support again. But Matt, I hope.
Moving in that direction, yep.
Cool. There's a lot of folks in the back I've not heard from. Yeah, so, yeah.
What is the current state regarding the generation of collections with open API spec? Because there is the contained content builder, and the code should be moved to the Ansible Creator utility, but this hasn't seen any maintainment in the last 2-3 years or so.
So dev tools.
Just the impression is not very good. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, sorry, so you said you were the Ansible creator?
The content builder has some parts to generate collections from an open API spec.
Okay, so the
code is quite old, and I think it should be moved to the content creator, or there's like a PR that it should be moved there, but there hasn't been really work on it for the last
Okay, yeah, so it seems like we've got a few different ways of scaffolding collections, and there's one bit of tool that will take an API spec and generate, or like at least scaffold the new collections, but it doesn't seem like that's had any, that tool might be deprecated, and you're thinking we should maybe go in the Ansible creator tool. Dev tools here at the moment? No, later on we'll have someone from the dev tools, but that's a really good question. I'm not familiar with that, unless Daniel, I don't know if you've looked at that stuff.
No, I haven't looked at that specific collection, but yeah, I was just taking a look. It hasn't had any commits in 10 months. This is the last commit.
This is creator, or
This says a collection, Ansible content builder. So the question, the suggestion was to move that to the Ansible creator utility instead, maybe.
Yeah. Has anyone ever used that tool? 2, 3? Okay, 3 folks have used it, so yeah, maybe if we move it into there we can get a bit more love and get it maintained a bit more. Cool. What other pain points do folks have?
One thing I was thinking about was, right now there's quite a few repos where there's like GitHub action workflows that are in different repos. So there's like some release workflows that are in the DevTools repository, and then there's some release workflows, GitHub actions that are in the Ansible content actions repository. So would it make sense maybe to like try and consolidate it so everyone can just go to one, so like community and partners can go to one repository to get like the reusable workflows instead of them being a little bit scattered across different ones?
Yeah, so the question was, there seems to be lots of different GitHub workflows, like even under the Ansible and Ansible collections and Ansible community org. Why are there so many different ones? Why are they all doing slightly different things? Yeah, I don't know. We've had a bit of a look at some of them last year, and there's some slightly different bits of functionality in one versus the other, but they're all trying to do a similar thing, and personally I think it's really annoying. I think if you're starting off trying to do some Ansible development and you go, well, how should I do these things? Not only are these things not documented, but there's like 5 or 7 competing ways forward, right? So maybe we create an 8th, you know, following the XKD idea of standards, we create an 8th that's unified, and we fail and we then create the 9th and 10th, and that's maybe why we're here. But yeah, I'd love for that stuff actually to maybe end up in the community, maintained. For those of you around last couple of days, like there was a talk on Ansible Knox, like maybe that's actually the opinionated way that we do the testing, and then we have a wraparound, an easy wraparound that using a GitHub action. And looking towards the back of the room for any other feedback or thoughts on this stuff. You know, if you've got any pains in maintaining your collections, releasing them, testing them, developing them, or using them, right? Like the things that you found when you're using the collections that you think, I wish the maintainer had done this. Not individual bug fixes, but maybe something wider. Yeah.
I've got one suggestion. I'm not sure if it's on anyone's radar yet, but one of the things that is interesting to me is that the Ansible Galaxy client, even when you feed it a requirements file, is not able to figure out what collections you have that actually need updating. So when you say I need to install my collections, it always downloads everything, even if you have like a gazillion, which takes a lot of time, it wastes a lot of data. I think it could be more efficient, but I'm not sure if this. I think this has been requested a few times on the forum as well in the past.
Okay. So the question was, if you have using Ansible Galaxy with a requirements start,
yes,
requirements file, and it's got a list of collection, Ansible Galaxy will always go and download every single one of those collections and probably walk into the dependencies as well. It sounds like it's maybe downloading the full tarball rather than just looking at the metadata.
And this is specifically, you didn't ask it to update everything. This is just like, just make sure that my requirements are
yeah,
met.
so the behavior is one of two.
related.
So you can have Ansible Galaxy message requirements file, and then it will say, I have already got these ones. Or you can add --force, and then it will download everything. But there's no -update, for example. So you cannot have it selectively download the things that need updating. It's either nothing or everything. Or, well, missing and everything.
Yeah. And I can't, like off the top of my head, it's been a while since I looked at that stuff. I can't remember how much of that would be like the dep solver versus the, you know, like if if we can, if there's an easy way to get kind of the middle of the road behavior for an update.
I mean, at this
but
point,
even so, like even if nothing, like if you didn't ask for an update, if it's just like, just make sure these are there, it doesn't download anything in that case, right? Okay, it's purely if you ask for an update.
yeah, so basically what I want to do is now I run my jobs daily, and now I daily run Ansible Galaxy update force to download and ensure I have the newest collections and the newest whatever I need. And I would like, well, I think it would also help with the load on Galaxy itself, if not everything was downloaded every day.
Yes. Is there an issue open for that? Because it does seem like that seems like a bug. Like, there's some complexities with the depth solver, but I think that one is not one of them. Like it should be. So yeah, open an issue
I'll
for
remember
that.
to write
like,
a forum
just
post on this, and I'll tag you.
yeah. Just do it. Yeah. Just
Oh, yeah.
Just open a
That
core
was-
issue.
yeah.
Just open a core issue on Galaxy.
Sure.
That seems like an oversight. Yeah.
Yeah, so the action there was we'll get a bug raised and then we'll do an investigation. We think we should have the metadata we need to be able to resolve the dependencies. Do you want to go on to the next one?
So, yeah. Don't look away.
Yes. Cool, so that was a great discussion. So next topic.
Yeah, maybe another topic. There's still the GitHub Ansible Galaxy repository for the old Galaxy thing.
So yeah.
And it's not archived, and people are still creating issues there also for the Ansible Galaxy CLI command or for other things, namespace requests, whatever. And I don't think anyone is still looking at that.
So the Felix quite rightly pointed out that we still have GitHub Ansible Galaxy repository open. There's no code changes going there. That is not the source. Even though naming things are difficult, even though that is the source directory called Galaxy is not the Galaxy source code. The only thing that's still using that is the namespace requests. It's on my personal list, which is why it hasn't been done yet, to move the namespace requests into the forum, because we can have a discussion, and then we'll get all that archived out.
I can go mark the thing, archive it right now.
I mean, I can do that, but I need to move the issue templates around. But Daniel, I think you're making notes. Can you just make a note to make sure at least the README in there is in Ansible Galaxy repo is?
I can take the task.
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Do you want to introduce?
Okay, cool. Yeah. So another one that my team and I really want to work on in the next year is improving content discovery and user adoption, because as I tried to point out about the benefits of participation, getting user adoption and having people find your content, kind of important, right? Would you agree?
Yep.
And right now, I think finding content on Galaxy in particular is really difficult. You've got the tags you can filter by, but it's hard to, there's not really any search. So one of the things we've been thinking about to improve this is actually using, now that we've got like all the, docs.ansible.com is over on Read the Docs, is creating a new project somewhere and a doc site in there that could act as kind of an overlay on Galaxy, where we, my idea basically has been that, like on the Kubernetes, like, on the operator hub, there are the different levels for operators, and the first one is just basically like, spins up a cluster and then goes all the way to like maybe level 5. But having some indicators of content quality, like are they updated, we could talk about like, what are the criteria, but having those kind of like indicators that, these collections aren't just, this one's regularly maintained and it's updated. so you know you can trust it and it's going to work, but also being able to filter and sort collections by different use cases. I know with like community general, I actually went through and tried to like organize everything by the different use cases, because you know Felix, I was interested in like, and I still am, and actually, well, but you know, taking community general from kind of like a monolithic dumping ground into different collections based on like, you know, more use cases. So it'd be great to hear from other folks out there. Does anyone have any ideas on like how could you envision, or do you have any examples of other technologies that like, oh hey, you know, the way they make this content or you know whatever discoverable would be nice if we had that for Ansible collections, or how could we improve user adoption to make collections maybe more apparent by use case, or
And just to sort of set context, I'm quite happy for the answer to be Galaxy's done its thing, let's throw it away and start again from scratch from a user interface point of view. Like, I think that is totally in game, and I can see a few people smiling, so maybe that's resonating with
It's
you.
an idea. Add a chatbot. Add
Yeah.
a chatbot, type use case, and find for all collection descriptions.
Yeah, I think search-based stuff I think could really help. Like, yeah.
It's just a search from
Yeah.
Galaxy that doesn't really work well.
What I think could also help with the Galaxy content itself, if I'm not sure if it's, I think it's also in the list of results when it was last updated. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I search for stuff.
individual one.
Yeah, but I would like to. I would not like to use a role that hasn't been touched in 8 years.
yeah.
Even especially if there's results lower than that are more recent.
But I'm not sure that update time is always quality.
Yeah, it should be. I upload my.
Something, so you know, if something's stable and it works, and the technology didn't change for 10 years, there are such technologies that
Well,
don't change.
the thing is that if it hasn't been imported to Galaxy for 8 years, that also means it has not been linted for 8 years.
This is, yeah,
So any new changes in Ansible or whatever, it's not checked, so you don't know.
So, but maybe we should translate it not into the years, but support of the used Ansible core versions.
That, yeah, last tested with or last
Yeah.
linted with. That would make it even better.
Yeah. Did you get that? Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too.
I know that. Only to trust someone else.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also maybe CI, that indicator on the search page that, for example, you could see right there if it's, let's say, red or green.
Oh, like the badges.
Yeah. Because otherwise you need to open the page.
Yeah.
At the moment, if you have the badges in the README file, it will render it for, but you have to
Yes.
use like documentation tab on the collection. But obviously, every collection has the like badge in the README, so yeah, you're right. You have to go to the repo to check if there's been a recent CI run.
Also, it could be that the workflow hasn't been running for like 10 years, but the last run it was green.
Yeah.
It still looks like green, but it's still
Yeah.
not really telling anything.
Because from what I remember, the importer on Galaxy itself also does the linting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe if that information could be exposed in the search results, that would be helpful.
But also, if you expose this, open this information about linting, everyone sees the errors in the collection. Everything is good. I can make my decision. I go. I'm not very much sure.
It's run on Galaxy. Those internal checks that we have in the automation hub.
So I think it is run as far as I remember. It maybe not so strict as, for example, in certification program.
So you can see that.
Yeah,
a lot.
I see some.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to somehow expose it. And maybe instead of CI, to have that batch instead.
don't know if it's possible, but some static security scan. So something what Docker Hub does or QA.io does.
You just check. You just check and it doesn't run Lincoln on Galaxy. So maybe it's a good idea to enable it.
It's running Lincoln on Galaxy and it's running even sanity checks. Yeah, I see I have a namespace access, so there is import log for the last check for the last upload of the collection, and it runs Ansible doc, Galaxy importer, sanity I think.
Does it run Ansible lib though? Because in my import log it doesn't run Ansible lib. The one
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure if lint is part of Galaxy importer, but it definitely runs sanity checks.
So it feels like you folks would like more information, so then you can. So it seems like there's a few bits to it, right? There's maybe some filtering options to search. So by last updated, and maybe we have some date range, and maybe a CI status, or works with Ansible version or last run. It seems like there's some bits there. But then the other bit I'm hearing is that you'd like some more information, probably directly in the Galaxy webpage, so you can make an informed decision. So maybe one thing we can do is, rather than requiring every README to add the little badge, the little green CI shield, maybe we can just add some. We can also calculate that and run it and display it at runtime. And also put in the last updated text, and how to have an auto-generated bit. But then the collection maintainers don't need to go through that work. And then links to the import log, which I'm guessing at the moment only the collection maintainer can see. I didn't realise that because I've got the picture of this. But that seems like something that we can easily add. The folks think that would be, some of those things would be useful. Show of hands. Are we just saying yes because we've thrown some ideas around, or do you think it'd generally be useful?
No, I think because, as you mentioned, when I look around on Galaxy, so if I want to roll for something and I don't intend to write it myself, I oftentimes have to check multiple roles to see if they have been touched in the last, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, I think it's fair feedback. So, yeah.
I think for like day zero, this information is good to just have it, but then you can also use this to do some kind of scoring in the search. So the more you have of this, the higher the search result will be.
I'm not expecting anyone to read my handwriting. That's dyslexic British English for those that aren't familiar, but it will just make sure I've captured all the notes. Yeah, scoring's interesting. So in the previous version of Galaxy, I think we had.
Do you want to take the?
Yeah. We had in the previous version of Galaxy, we had the ability to give some star ratings. I think it was on usability, documentation, and maybe something else. I didn't see the statistics, but my gut says that people didn't rate the content, and that's fine. I'm not blaming anyone. I've never taken the time to complete a survey after using a bit of Galaxy content. I'm trying to use Galaxy, and then I'm trying to solve my next problem. I'd love to know what people think would be a easier way for you to give feedback, because we can auto-generate a load of scores, right? And that's good, right? But does this stuff actually work for you? How can we get that feedback? Yeah.
And maybe also add a sort by download.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if download is really valuable metric, because there are some
We talked about this yesterday, yeah.
Some people are coding the well, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I downloaded 50,000 times just because they are part of one CSCD that gets run.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I do this. I download all of my collections every day because I cannot update them.
Exactly.
So it's a massively inflated and blue number. It's working.
If you have it,
Even
then
more, if you have it,
If you have it,
it's
it's popular.
pipeline.
Well, and I also have like 7 customer environments that do that. So I can generate at least 70 downloads a day. So.
Yeah, if people want to join me after, because Greg Sutcliffe, I don't think's in here, I could do a whole rant for like many hours about vanity metrics, which are things like GitHub stars, download stats. I mean, I'll tell you now, it's community general. That is the highest downloaded thing every day of every second, every nanosecond of a day, right? So what about, how can we make it easier for you to actually rate content to provide human feedback back into the system? Is the, yeah?
I feel like a simple star, like GitHub stars, would be helpful not only
Yeah, so the idea there was maybe actually it's a simple star, so I like this thing or I don't. You mentioned GitHub stars, which now makes me think, well, since we moved to collections, all of these things are individual repos, so maybe we could just expose the GitHub stars and have I don't know how GitHub works, but have a click through so you can put the star in. And now, and I don't mean this in a passive aggressive way, but do you think folks would you make the time to go and tick a box to give something to a star? Because I know, like I said, I know I never did. I think I did once to make sure the interface worked, and then I never touched it again. And this is part of my day job, so.
No, but you would start a repo, so if they inspect and get the same result.
Okay.
Yeah, you have multiple sources then. Galaxy can be a source of stars, but GitHub is also a source of stars.
And you can delete some
Yeah, there's a problem that repositories could be anywhere, even on private repositories, and there might not be stars at where they are hosted. So.
Yeah, I mean, for the vast majority of the collections, they're in GitHub.
Maybe you're automatically excluding everyone that is on.
I mean, we can't solve everything for every single user. No, I think it's a good discussion, right? But like, we can't. If we made this better for 80% of things, then that's a massive improvement over where we are today.
I think it should be like within Galaxy or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Be based on external metrics.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, there is a download count. Why there is no count for how many people click doc site, website, issue tracker, repo?
Yes,
And
that is much better metric.
Is that
Click-through rate.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, like, Community Galaxy probably has thousands of modules, and many collections has many modules and roles. And if someone is using something, like 5 roles out of community general, I don't think people, me personally, I would not like make judgment of the whole collection of thousands of elements by 5 I'm using. So maybe if it's possible to add stars for individual elements like roles or modules inside the collection, and somehow aggregate for the whole collection, because it's really hard to judge. Like, who is using the whole community general?
Nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I hope nobody's using every single module in there, because there's a couple of things I
like
wrote.
people, I'm using 5 of those. Like, how can I judge the whole collection of 1,000 based on 5?
But is that a general issue or just a community general?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't try and solve. You're going to end up using community general anyway, right? I mean, but I think actually looking at the documentation stats, because one of the advantages since we've moved to read the docs is we can get access to that, so we can probably
like here, right here, like number of clicks.
Yeah. So we can get access to the stats, and maybe we can look at number of unique viewers. We'll it won't be live data, right? We'll update it once a day, once a week, or whatever. But I think that's a good idea. And then when you were talking about that made me think for the repository, what you actually care about, is this stable? Is someone responsive? So maybe one of the things is, well, what's the number of GitHub contributors? If it's 1,
number of changes in the
maybe there's a set of metrics we sort of pulled together.
100 commits in a year or 100 commits in 10 years, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Also, there's that something like a number of open bugs would be something, because obviously if the collection has 50 open bugs, would be not the best one. The only issue though is that you would be relying on the external data from GitHub, which means that if you want to support GitHub, and something else, then you have to interface yourself with multiple API sets.
Okay.
But GitHub is a good start anyway.
Yeah, so it feels like there's definitely some different heuristics and scores we could put in, and I think this is something to definitely, I think we'll start a polling code on this. Do you want to talk a bit more about, the ideas for the docs interface and sort of get some ideas on that, or what are we doing on time?
I think we're running about on time. I did want to talk about this next one. Do you just want to take it since you've got the mic?
Yeah, what do you want me to say?
3 minutes.
No, we've got till past.
Oh, okay, great. I guess I was looking at the first one.
Oh yeah. Oh no, sorry, that's English time. What was the topic on this?
Reducing maintainer burden.
Okay, so we've got loads of great. Do you want to just take that and I'll hold this?
We can probably leave the one for the camera on the table, which is
Yeah.
sensitive enough. And we did.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Howdy. Okay. Okay, so a huge one for us that we want to really tackle. Our next high-level goal is reducing maintainer burden. I know, like, one of the things, like Felix, we talked last year about the role org stack and how that doesn't get rendered on Galaxy unless you do. Were you just like, yeah?
Yeah, someone brought that up to me as well. I can't remember who it was now, so apologies. But yeah, someone yesterday I think mentioned this.
Yeah, it's a huge pain point. So,
It was you, right?
Carol, was it you?
Yeah, there's a lot of things which are rendered and not rendered on Galaxy, which like rendered which shouldn't be there, and not rendered that should be there from my point of view.
Yeah. And that's one of the examples of maintainer burden that we would like to try and reduce. I mean, we have talked about, like, you know, again, going back to this idea of using like a doc site.
I was going to say, do you want to just go for the hot take of throw away what we've got and move to
Yeah, let's
the
go
good
for the
tool
hot take.
to the docs?
We should talk
Okay.
about it.
Yeah, we should talk about it. It's just like getting rid of like some of.
Even just talk about what we talked about yesterday, like, just say that.
Just about getting rid of like some of the Galaxy stuff altogether and just like having a doc site where we, you know, is basically an overlay for Galaxy and where, you know, documentation is rendered and you have like the, you know, the link to download collections, and Galaxy, I guess, is under the hood, but that becomes the main entry point where you find collections and, you know, download them, and, you know, it would just be a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess just to set a bit of context, so there's sort of three places where you'll see the documentation. So if the collection is in the Ansible package, you'll see docs.ansible.com/Ansible version, and you get a nice render tree. You can see, click through collection by collection, you can see all the modules and plugin and different plugins, so callbacks, module, all those bits in one place. Can't remember what we do for roles in there, but because that's all community driven and because of a load of amazing work by Felix and some of the other folks, it's really good tooling. And then you've got what's on Galaxy, which might render some stuff or might not. See a few people sort of recognizing that. One of the controversial things that Don and I have talked about is let's just get rid of all that docs rendering from Galaxy and get it all into the main upstream docs place, because we then have one set of tooling to maintain.
In this case,
thoughts?
Where to find documentation for the collection which just like people creating for themselves?
Yeah, so I think technically what we'll do is when your collection gets uploaded to Galaxy, we'll run through Galaxy Importer, then we'll do a one-time build of that docs and then put it on one of the other doc sites or a different subdomain or something.
It actually exports JSON document, the documentation with JSON with Ansible doc, and then uses that JSON to render the actual documentation every time you access it.
Yeah.
So on this topic of maintaining burden, there was a talk on the first day about like Ansible Docsmith for like role documentation, which was using like the argument spec to auto-generate. That would be nice if there was. So that's a community tool. It would be nice, and there's like as far as I know, there's like 3 different tools like that at the moment.
For the roles alone.
Sorry.
Only for the roles.
Yeah, only for the roles.
Yes or no?
It would maybe be nice to like have something that could generate like the collection documentation as well, like the collection readme as well, something like that. Also, some collections that I've maintained in the past, there's been like multiple roles in that collection that all like have like say 6 variables that are common to like all of those roles. Sort of like global collection variables, if you do it like that. It'd be nice to like be able to document those maybe like an equivalent argument spec maybe for a collection, or maybe instead of duplicating those every single time in the argument spec for each role, but just something else.
So basically doc fragments for the roles. Because doc fragments for modules and plugins work very good. But for roles there is nothing.
Same for return values of plugins and modules. That's now, has it actually been captioned for?
For which?
Return doc fragments or return values? There was, I mean, it was like implemented last for 220, I think, but then it wasn't clear whether it would stay or not.
I don't know. That's a Brian question.
Because if you use it, you cannot show the documentation any older version of Ansible with Ansible doc.
Yeah.
And then there was a discussion of ripping it out completely, but I don't know what the result was.
I don't remember where. I think I was just kind of like, oh la la, like I don't remember where that one landed.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of discussion there about like where does the functionality live in bits, and one of the things I really want to see from this is that if we go, we're going to use the upstream tools that we've got, we can then put all the effort into that and work out which of the 3 role documentation system tooling we want to use, get all that stuff integrated, then we can just get rid of a load of stuff. Like the aim of this is that I think we can give you a more consistent experience. We don't get people wanting to put their package into the Ansible community, their collection into Ansible community package just because they want it on docs.ansible.com, which I'd want to do. It's a nice site, and we end up with a lot better experience for everyone. And then as we get everything in there, if we want to do the analytics to say, well, how many unique visitors have seen this collection of one role visitor more popular than the other? Well, we've all got everything everything's in one system, so we can pull that. Who's worked on any of the docs tooling or contributed any docs fixes to Ansible? Show of hands. Okay. Would anyone else be interested in a bit of a Skunkworks project? Well, maybe not Skunkworks, but helping out with some of this stuff, like at least helping us sort of develop the spec, and we'll do some sort of prototyping. Cool. I see a few nods in the audience here, because this is the bit, right? Like, my requirements are different to your requirements. So like if we can sort of do, some wireframes and sort of discuss what this can look like, and this is the whole point of having the forum, we can then sort of tease out the specs and work out. I've already spoken with the Galaxy team, and they are quite happy to delete a whole chunk of code, and then, because we've got better code, as I know it's been recorded. Unsurprisingly, our community code in a lot of places is better than some of the Red Hat stuff, because this is an area that we're continually working on.
And the requirements are different.
Yeah,
that's exactly like when you mentioned that's why I said like we should talk about this, because it's exactly the same kind of solution that you came up with for the Ansible Knox. It's just kind of like we're not replacing anything, just like paper over the gaps and like try to use what's good and bypass or work around or add to for the things that are different requirements that the community has than what product or core or whoever else has. Use what works and replace what doesn't.
Got 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, 10 minutes. Any other thoughts around maintainer burden before we move on? Are there any pain points that anyone wants to bring up, or I don't know, since we started talking about this, maybe some things that come to mind other than doc rendering issues with Galaxy? Anything not particularly working well for maintainers that you want to highlight? If not, then another one of our goals as a team with the community, for the community partner engineering team, is to act as open source champions, both outside of Red Hat, but within Red Hat as well. One of the things we've done is there's been a lot of hiring and onboarding, and internally for the Ansible engineering team, and one of the things we've heard through like Red Hat associate surveys is that people want to know more about, you know, how should we be doing open source? Like, how do we get involved? So, like, Gundalow and I have worked on a series of like training sessions for Ansible engineering. We've been doing that stuff internally, but you know, I think this is an important topic. I'm hoping more people have thoughts here. One of the things that I can say that I think we need to be doing better, that kind of like falls within this, is communication with the community. I know Felix, maybe you've raised this as sort of a pain point before, particularly around some of the AWS modernization. It just seemed like there was a bit of silence there. There are reasons for that, but you know, that's you know, not trying to excuse it, because we, you know, I feel like we should have done better, and I voiced that in the forum. But this will be interesting. I kind of want to turn this over and not babble too much. What do you guys think? What do you think like being an open source champion might entail, and what would you like to see us kind of getting involved with? What thoughts do you have?
Yeah, and partly this is about how can me and my team better support you, right?
Yeah.
Is the training, mentoring? Do you want a private place? Because although we all operate as a nice, quiet community, and you know, a well-behaved community, like I know it's a bit daunting. We're in a big room. I'm really, really thankful for those that have spoken, especially for the folks that I've not had a chance to talk to before. But like, you know, do you want a quiet place? Do you want like monthly video chat, or a place to hang out, or office hours with a select few? Like, I'm open to any of that stuff. So, yeah, what can we do to help you?
I think well, it's not necessary to help us, but I think for the whole perception thing, just tell us when it's not going well. For example, the whole Galaxy thing, it breaks. Stuff breaks. We all know it. We are all system engineers. We all have stuff that breaks for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest issue is that if it breaks, that it happens. That's a fact of life. But just tell us. We're working on it. We expect to fix it by maybe Monday, or I don't know. We need to call someone who's on vacation. Okay, just say it.
Yeah, and in what form and structure do you think we've done?
Well, for example, let's say there's two big things. The Galaxy thing was recent, so that's everybody knows because everybody mentioned noticed it. Just tell us, hey, we're working on it. We expect it to be fixed by then. And well, because we're all nerds, we probably also want to know why it broke.
Yeah.
So tell us, hey, we figured out that this upgrade went wrong, or this database crashed, or whatever. Not because it's important, but because it's interesting. Because the important thing is, it works again. And for AWX, I think that's more difficult because, well, as you also mentioned, there's probably also some reasons inside of Red Hat why you couldn't talk about it. But I think in anything, silence is the worst.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a weekly, we're still working on it, stay tuned. And then share what you can, or say that you cannot share it yet, but that you hope to share next week or whatever. I think that just it only breaks the silence, but I think that's a major thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything, but still be present.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Maybe there could be a dedicated forum tag, let's say, called like service shut down or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it can, to do it through those regular channels like, let's say, news and announcements. There are a lot of news, a lot of announcements.
Yeah.
So
Did anyone notice that there was a forum banner
Yes.
on? I know it took a few hours for that to appear.
No, I think it would be great to get something, let's say, email.
Yeah, I mean, what works? Right? I know because I get a ping and I have lots of people messaging me. But what communication method would work, right? Would you know to look at the forum, or would you?
Well, you can do the same thing as with Bullhorn, right? So you can subscribe to the forum which has the announcements on it. So whenever there's a new post, you get it in your mail automatically. So if you just want these service messages, you just subscribe to that forum, and then whenever something gets posted, you get it in your email.
Okay. So let's. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about it to work out what the right signal to noise ratio is. Right? Are you thinking the existing news and announcement area where it's basically weekly bullhorn and occasionally major releases, or like we'll announce these things. Is that the right place, or?
I'd say yes.
Well, what do others think? Do you think? I mean, does it also make sense what I'm saying, right? Because I realise not everyone spends their entire life thinking about Ansible communication in a forum every 30 seconds. So if this stuff isn't clear, please say, right? Because that's a really easy fix. I like that. It's something I can. Well, it's not a technology problem. It's just reminding someone to.
I believe a dedicated tag would be better because not everyone is interested in getting all of those announcements.
Yes.
Get status, I was just about to. Yeah, because it can be up or down, but when he gets down, you want to know, but when he comes back up, you also want to know, right? So status would be.
So is this, are we thinking a tag that is just, words are difficult, like critical service interruption? Like is it just for?
Server status.
Server status, yeah. So it's just for there is a fire, here's the update, and we've now solved it, yeah.
And I think what I mentioned earlier, the whole, it doesn't have to be very long, but for example, when Cloudflare had these issues like a few times with the database crash or AWS, they post this post-mortem thingy. It's just like a small blog post like this happened, we did this, and we hope this never happens again because blah.
And I really like those. I think it builds a lot of trust with their customers and community, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of free users.
Because we all know we're not infallible, but
I mean, yeah, if anyone's made a system that worked up all the time, I'll go and find a job and you can come work.
yeah, exactly. We would all be out of jobs.
Yeah, Daniel.
Now on this topic, it's like there's been ideas in the past of maybe having like a status page kind of thing. It's like uptime to
Yeah.
status pages, and they can obviously like fire notifications when like the service is down. Maybe something like that, and that could fire into the forum and then tag, that tag so that it notifies everyone who's following it.
Yeah, I like that. We've tried to get Galaxy and other things on status.redhat.com.
You don't know.
It's just painful. But I have the DNS permissions on Ansible.com and I could go do that. So maybe
It's not already there, so.
yeah. Oh, is there a holding page?
No, it's not already there.
Yeah, oh, it's not there. Yeah. So yeah, that seems something quite good, and maybe we can put some bits for Galaxy, the doc site, Matrix, a few other things. Anyone put status pages together and looked at that type of infrastructure and know what would be a good set of tooling to use?
Yeah, Uptime Kuma probably.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
the
I
one
think
heard recently, but
I run it for a few sites. It's quite nice.
which one?
Uptime Kuma.
Oh, it's simple.
And you got some integration. You can use some API polling and then trigger, feed some data in and poke some data out. Or
Don't know about that bit. It does all the monitoring automatically. You have to look
Okay.
into the like putting messages in there or
Yeah.
like status messages,
Yeah.
but it'll check up and down, and you can hook it into. There's like 40 integrations or something.
oh, cool.
It's an email.
You can definitely, I think you can do webhooks to support like.
Yeah, webhooks and it does all kind of notification systems and.
You can always contribute as well, like they have like a notification system, we can contribute like a discourse.
Yeah, discourse and a
notification
Matrix
provider or
one.
something.
So what's it called? Sorry, Uptime.
Uptime Kuma.
Okay.
Yeah, something,
It's open source. It's Docker container.
yeah.
But this is a monitoring system. You basically, from the customer side point, you only want a status page.
Yeah, but
Whatever system.
you can. The public bit is the status page basically.
Yeah.
In the admin interface, you can add all the stuff, but the public-facing thing is just a status page.
Yeah, that sounds really
It
good.
looks like that.
Ah, green lines, very good.
Ah.
10 out of 10 to 10 to this admin points.
Yeah, all my stuff is green.
Cool, you got 3 minutes left. Cool, that sounds really good. I really like that. I think we've got some things that are very easy. It's a couple of clicks to make a new tag, and I think, you can set up a new DNS entry and just put some basic stuff in. We won't set up any alerting and see how it goes. Seems like we've got some experts that can help us on that. Daniel?
As an alternative, there's also like Gators, which is also a status page sort of thing, but with that one it's more like YAML config driven. So we could even have like a community repo and have the status config in a public repo, and then the community can like contribute. We need to add a new endpoint to monitor, like all that sort of stuff. So that could be, and that's also open source project.
Yeah, I don't think we'll pick the tooling today, but it seems like there's some different things, and we're starting to see some extra requirements, which is great.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Maybe a question is that before you try to put the status on status.redhat.com, but what is the reason why it's not possible? Because it's upstream, or is it?
Because it's not technically capital S supported. Now, personally, not speaking on behalf of Red Hat, I think Galaxy should be capital S supported, because I can tell you the large number of customers that complain.
How about Quake.io? Is this capitalized supported?
Yes.
Okay.
It's product.
Yeah, it's products, yeah.
But isn't the product Red Hat Quake and not Quake.io? Like we have the Red Hat Automation Hub as product, and Galaxy as the upstream. Isn't Quake.io the upstream?
I don't know.
I just Googled for it, but that is how.
But it's run by the product ops team, so like, if that's the difference, is like,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of, or partially the difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you get into the internal stuff, and I'm not going to waste time now, but like, yeah, it's very deliberate that in my team that we don't actually have, like, we pay for this course, we pay a chunk of money, we want to support them, they monitor it, they keep it running. I don't have a pager set up for people on my team, because that's not how we're set up, right? So we don't want to be in that business. Cool.
Okay. I think that's it. Thanks very much. You can always find us on the forum. If you're not already, please join us.
Yeah, really good
Anything else
discussion.
to-
I really appreciate all the ideas. I always come out with a good sized to-do list, but we're going to delegate and work together on this. And this is a place where, you know, all these bits we'll do as a community, right? We'll start a forum by post, we'll get some ideas if folks are interested. Like, I'd love for you to help. You can have some permissions come out on the repos for these things.
And I was going to say, a conversation doesn't like end today.
Yeah.
We're going to have a forum post about this, and we are going to like try and be more open and transparent about our goals and priorities as we work through setting some of those. And let's keep this conversation ongoing. So if you want to join us on the forum and talk to us there, you have ideas, or you can just come talk to me or someone else from the team and give us your thoughts. Thank you very much for.
So